Welcome back to Dynasty Football Maniacs. Oh my God, the weeks are just flying by. I mean, we're in another week of football. Week 4 just ended. Week 5 starts. That means the bye week starts. You guys got to pay attention to the bye weeks
Hey,
because
you know what else sucks even more? That
what's that?
more people keep getting hurt.
And that too, injuries galore. So we got injuries on top of bye weeks. So you guys got to definitely pay attention to the bye week. And there's 4 teams on bye this week. The teams, I know the Lions are on bye,
Yep.
Eagles are on bye,
Yep.
Titans are on bye, and Chargers. So if you have any players on them teams, you need to start going through your fantasy teams and getting back.
Unfortunately, I do. So I gotta go
Same
take a
here.
look
I
at
mean,
that.
I got 2 leagues that have Barkley, and I got to move Barkley.
Oh,
That's a hard replacement. And
oh
then
yeah.
Anthony Richardson, man, you're
Oh,
scaring me.
hey, hang
He's in
on.
my winning league. He's in a league that I'm only 3-1, and I mean I am dominating. But I have Baker Mayfield in my flex quarterback, and I do have Xavier Worthy and Brian Thompson down on the bench. So I thought
Mm,
instead of playing a quarterback in that quarterback flex, I think I'd probably be better off taking Baker Mayfield up to quarterback and either playing Xavier or play
I I
Thomas.
actually I actually won a game in your league. Not this past week, but the week before. I actually won a game without having 2 quarterbacks. I had, I had, no, actually, it wasn't mine, I'm sorry, mine, because I am struggling in yours, but in mine, I had Kyler Murray, and I took out Anthony Richardson, and I think, a wide receiver or running back, and he actually scored more, so I actually won that
Yeah,
week.
that's good. So let's do the recap for the week because that's exciting. There's some ups and downs, and as Austin alluded to, more injuries on top of injuries and players slowly going out and coming back. I mean, Jordan Love's on his way back. Rashee Rice is on his way out. Who knows when Christian McCaffrey will return? I know Austin Eckler's out. I mean, it just on and on and on. It's starting to kill some teams, especially some of my teams that were doing well. Starting with the first game, Cowboys and Giants. Wow. Thursday night was a good football game. Giants, whatever. But the good thing about the Giants, you got Malik Neighbors. This guy has just climbed and clawed his way up into top scorer in fantasy. He is now number 6 overall in scoring. Now, when I say overall, when I'm saying stats, I'm saying up to week 4, IDP and offensive. Okay. The numbers I have in front of me are PPR for both categories. So I want you guys to understand that. So that's number 6 overall, defense and offense. He is number 6 now. And that is wow. Okay. Dak. Yeah, figures the year I didn't concentrate on you, you start inching your way up. You're in the top 20. But you always do good. I mean, Dak's always done good. That's why I used to draft Dak all the time. I think what burnt me was Dak went through it, and I should never blame him for that because you don't never predict injuries and you never want injuries. They just happen. And I remember the championship year that I got lucky that Justin Herbert came out for the first time. And I picked up
Mm,
Justin Herbert and Jonathan Taylor because I'm that nutty guy. And I lost Dak, and Justin Herbert just became Justin Herbert. So that was great.
well, he had a really good rookie season.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I
So,
I can definitely see that.
yeah. Um, are you hearing them or am I just hearing them?
I think you're just hearing them
Okay.
because I didn't hear
I,
them.
I won't get it too carried away then. All right. So that wasn't really a scoring game for Daniel Jones. I mean, most of Malik Neighbors' points came from receptions and yardage. I definitely see who the running back is of Dallas, but it's nothing to say hurrah. Um, I'm sorry, Dallas. You,
I
you got
I
to work on this running back
I,
room, and
I
I
did
understand
I did kind of guess it right though with
you did. And I
who
was
they
going
were
to give
gonna
you
go with. I don't agree. I still don't agree with the situation, but out of this situation, I had to go with somebody, and it's starting to come to fruition.
yeah. And then the next game, Pirates went to Eagles and beat the Eagles down. That's the Buccaneers. Them guys came in there firing cannons in all different directions and literally ripped that team apart. There's no excuses.
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, the only thing that's surviving on Atlanta that looks good on Atlanta, and I hate to say it, is the guy they just brought from the Giants, and that's Barkley. I mean, everybody else, what happened? I understand Devontae Smith is out. Is A.J. Brown still out too? I believe so.
Oh, yeah, he was out. He was out the last game.
Yeah, he was out too. So they're injury plagued. Jalen Hurts doing what he can. Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield dropped out of the top 10 last week, week 3. Well, he said, I'm not staying out of the top 10. He clawed his way back up to number 8. He's 8 overall scorer in fantasy football right now. There is a couple quarterbacks ahead of him, and we'll get to that a little later on. The Bengals and the Panthers. Joe Burrow, he's now clicking. He's here. He's coming back.
I will say though, they were playing the Panthers defense.
Yes.
And it's not that good. So we will see if he's really clicking this coming week when he plays the Ravens.
Right. And I'm going to start speeding up because we got a lot to talk about in this thing.
Right.
Falcons and Saints. Last 2 seconds. 58-yard field goal. Cool. You scored me some points, but we still lost the team. But it's okay. What a game. I mean, Falcons pulled it out. Saints should have won it.
That was pretty crazy.
Yes, it was. Last 2 seconds. Wow. You don't see that often.
Right.
Caleb Williams, I'm not getting on your bandwagon. I'm not on that horse. I'm not getting on that horse. I don't know what you're doing.
I think the defense won that one again.
I believe so too, and that's where I'm at. I'm sorry, Caleb. Yeah, you had 4 scoring drives. Good for you. Bravo. 3 were touchdowns. 1 was a field goal. The Rams, they survived on field goals. But the Rams are 1-3. They're struggling with injuries. It's not like their team's there.
Oh, they are so injury plagued right now.
Nah, they were injury plagued last year too, so it was horrible. All right,
let's get to this game.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry for misreading this guy. I really thought you were a joke. I didn't ever think you'd ever come out in the league, and here you are, Sam Arnold, number 10 on the overall fantasy scoring football, and you just rocked the Vikings undefeated 4-0. Who would have ever? And there's my mathematic 4-0. Yes, 10 makes 4. That's only in my math world. I did that to someone else the other day. I said 7, and they're like, "Is that like what was it? He called it core math or something?" It's like, we gotta get rid of that. Like, I gotta learn how to hold up my fingers right. Get excited.
That's probably right now. I believe that's really one of the biggest surprises this year so far, in my opinion.
But Jordan Love made a good comeback stretch in the 4th quarter. I mean, looking at this game, 4th quarter, it was not. Go ahead.
He finally started. I can say, he was being out, out with injury, hardly being at practice, and you saw that in the beginning of the game, but as the game went on, you can kind of start seeing him getting into the rhythm, and then, then that's when he started clicking.
Yeah, so when you look at that score, 31-29, it wasn't really like that at halftime. It was 28-7.
Yeah.
Vikings were just like clobbering. 3rd quarter, they came back and a little bit of defense happening. And then guess what? The Packers defense stepped up and kept the Vikings down to only 3 points, and they just rolled it out. And I mean, Jordan Love had a good performance coming back. I mean, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, you can't hate on that.
Right.
Another surprise game, and it was a close game. The Steelers finally lost the game. It's 27-24, but that doesn't mean Justin Fields ain't the starter. He's still the starter. And another surprise to that.
Talk about my bad. I mean, interrupt you, but I was going to say, talk about old man football back there at quarterback.
Yeah, I kind of got surprised by Justin Fields because he is actually ranked. I just had it pulled up. I'm sorry I lost it. Let me look it back up. He's in the top 20, I believe. And that's shocking. Oh, I got to find next. Oh, there he is, 17. Jesus, my God, what's wrong with my eyesight?
Yeah.
I knew he was in the top 20. I'm looking at 20 players. I'm like, where's he at? Justin, and I spelled his name wrong. Oh, wow. All right. That's what I was like. There's more than one Justin in the NFL. What happened?
There is.
But yeah, so Joe Flacco jumped in there, relieves injured Anthony Richardson, which hurt me in one of my leagues, which I barely won in the one group,
Right.
which is the one I'm having to think about maybe because even though he's questionable and they're saying it's day by day, I feel like since I'm 3-1 in that league, I'm better off sitting them 1 week as a safety precaution because Xavier Worthy and Brian Thompson are both good wide receivers and they're putting up points, and I would have a better chance. So that's where I'm at on that.
Hey,
Broncos.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to bring up an interesting fact on Justin Fields. And I don't know if you know this, but I know you got the overall players with offense and defense, but take a guess real quick of where you think Justin Fields at right now and quarterbacks at
I think he's
fantasy right
13.
now. On sleeper, he's ranked number 6.
Oh, wow. Oh,
That
he's ranked 6 or is he point 6?
he's ranked 6. Like he's
Oh, wow.
right now he is the number 6 overall quarterback in fantasy football right now.
Oh, wow. See, I only have points up. I don't have I know he's 13 in fantasy points for quarterback.
Yeah. He is that range in points, but overall in quarterbacks this year, as of if we 4 weeks in, he is the number 6 quarterback
Wow.
overall in rankings. That is wild.
That is wild. And overall players, let's see where he's ranked. He's ranked 117, 118. All right, so that's good. And then the Broncos. Oh my God, I actually threw Bo Nix away this week in one of my leagues.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I just don't see no coming back from that. I mean, the
That was
Jets.
a that was a rough game.
That was a rough game. The Jets were even horrible. Um, all right, so the Texans finally redeemed themselves. They beat the Jaguars 24-20. That was a pretty good game. Nico Collins has stepped forward to be wide receiver 1 at the Texans. Okay, he's number 7 overall scoring. He didn't just pass Stephon Diggs. He left Stephon Diggs
Right
back.
now he is number 1.
Yeah, he's 90 points. He's right. The only other wide receiver that scored more than him was Malik Neighbors, and it's 91.6.
But I will say Stephon Diggs is right behind him though.
Oh yeah, Stephon Diggs is right down there below him. He ain't far. He's the second one on the team. Um, so I think you were the one that said he would be wide receiver 1 for Texas.
I thought he would.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be.
I mean, in all honesty, it's gonna be Nico, but I could see where if the defense starts guarding Nico a little bit more, like they start double teaming him and stuff, then that's when I can start seeing go the other way. But right now I really think it'll probably stay with being Nico.
Yep. And then the next game is the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels just gets better and better and better. It was a good game. Rushing and throwing was good balance with that team. It wasn't just a throwing. I mean, Daniels did 233 yards, 1 touchdown. Connor ran 104 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, they just had a good game altogether. Cardinals struggled. They scored 14 points.
The Cardinals can't stop a cold.
No.
They can't. Their defense is awful.
Yeah. And then the 49ers picked it up over Patriots. Pretty much the person that led that would have been Fred Warner. Pick 6 helped the 49ers snap a 2-game skid. Let's talk about Fred Warner. He's number 19 overall scoring for
I thought he had been a
fantasy
little bit
football.
higher.
No, so the top 20 only has 2 defensive players, and let me explain why one dropped off. Aiden Hutchinson played 86% of the snaps with 0 points because he didn't really do much activity because of an injury, I think. They said they're looking at them. Next week we should see a different. Prior to that, Aiden Hutchinson was up in the top 10 the whole time. That 1 week kind of like hurt him.
skyrocketed him.
Yeah, that 1 week just kind of knocked him down. But it didn't knock him down far. It ain't like he's out of the top 40. I mean, he's 39. He's tied with four other defensive players with 65.3 total points fantasy this year. And he's just right there at any time can jump back up. Because this is only going into week 5. This is subject. Like, I wanted to give an example. So when we did week 1, there's only 4 players that are in the top 10 that were in the top 10 week 1. Alvin Kamara, Barkley, Jaden Daniels, and Baker Mayfield. They were the only 4 players, and only 3 of them stayed in the top 10 every week. And that's Alvin Kamara, Barkley, and Daniels. Baker Mayfield dropped out last week, went down to 16, had a bad game, but now he's back up there. Now, as we get into week 9 and 10, you won't see the big jumps anymore. By then, everybody's going to be steady where they're at. There's going to be a few shuffling hands, but most of it's going to be like, this is where they're at. I think the surprising thing out of that is Chris Godwin for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 14, but that's because Evans been dealing with injuries. So going in with that, you look at the Raiders and the Browns. The Raiders pulled it out. The Browns got issues. I ain't going to dive into it. Bless them. Kansas City Chiefs, what do you expect? Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Chargers. Sorry, hardball. You can't handle them balls.
Oh, come on.
Patrick Mahomes has got a big set along with Reed. Bills and the Ravens. Wow. Ravens. Derrick Henry said, look, back in the day, no one could stop me. Well, guess what? No one's going to stop me today.
Yeah.
24 carries, 199 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Wow. The other rusher, and it was a rushing game for the Baltimore Ravens. You had another player that had 6 reception. He had 78 yards and 1 touchdown, but he's a running back. You don't know who's going to be the wide receiver on the Ravens. It could be a tight end. It could be a running back. It could be the coach next week.
Yeah. The whole passing game with the Ravens actually scares me.
Yeah, it does me too. It's not what I was hoping it would be or see it to be. I thought Zay Flowers was going to give it something, and he does to a point. And it's great with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely because they're tight ends. You kind of expect it, but I noticed they utilize their running back core a lot different than a lot of other teams, and it does them good. They're always at the top. They're always winning, so he knows how to manage the team.
Right.
What? That is not important. Wow, the Titans. Well, they hit a team that's limping without a quarterback, and they're talking about Tua is not having no symptoms and all this other stuff. I don't know what that means, if he's coming back or what's going on. But Huntley ran the show. 14 for 22, 96 yards. Pollard was the main rusher for Tennessee Titans. They ended up winning 31-12. The offense literally fell off the face. Well, they were struggling even with Tua. So let's not even say it was Tua. Something's just not clicking down there, Daniel.
Well,
and I'm not sure what it is.
Tua just gave them a better chance.
I agree. And let's cover the last great game. Oh, these games happened on Monday. Everybody should have known that. Seahawks and the Lions. Lions are the Lions. I mean, Seahawks had a good game. Geno Smith played they played good. They started off slow. They stayed in the game.
Had a really good game too.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great game. So looking at fantasy, I want everybody to understand, a lot of you guys just play offensive players. There's a lot of leagues out there that are starting to dive into defensive players. I want you guys to understand defensive players are valuable, just as much valuable as the offensive player. So don't think that if someone offers you a defensive player, that's just snubbing you. It's not. And there's not a lot of stuff out there yet being built. Like there's not enough out there that's overwhelming that lets you know who's ranked higher and who's not. but there is sites you can go to that can help you out and guide you in the right direction and give
Right.
you a ballpark figure. And I don't like to brag on anybody or sell any site, but PFF is a one site for defensive players. Rasball is another site for defensive players. These sites do help you give a balance and understand the
And
worth of a defensive player to an offensive player.
another one for people if they're more comfortable with it is Fantasy Pros.
Oh yeah, Fantasy Pros. I forgot they have a defensive side too. Yes,
Right.
they're pretty decent.
So there's a
I,
we at least named a few out there.
I think Fantasy Pros probably has a better even balance between the two, but I don't know. They all do. Rasball does. The problem, I think Fantasy Pros they do give you the picks.
They do.
With Rasball, you struggle to find a pick value, but I found out you can use multiple tools to kind of give you a value of what you're looking at.
Right. All right.
So, like me and Austin deals with this a lot in some of the IDP leagues we play in. We don't. Some of the leagues we play in are not IDP, but when we do play in IDP, and you get new people out there and you offer them a defensive player, they like, oh, he can score me nothing. But trust me, if I'm throwing you a Fred Warner or Nick Bosa, that's
Or
just like throwing you a Lamar Jackson.
I mean, just look at the points that Aiden Hutchinson put up that 1 week.
Oh,
I mean,
Aiden Hutchinson was a top 4 scorer until he had that little injury.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
People think that defensive because I understand people have played offense so long, they're just dipping into the defense, and I get it. It's a different animal. But at the same time, you have to realize def- defensive players are just as valuable as offensive players.
right. So what? I'm gonna put my glasses on because this is called old man age. Uh, there is 1,696 active NFL players. Okay. An average dynasty league with just offense, for a whole league, you're drafted about 180 players because an average team is about 15 bench and starters. And then on a dynasty league, which is offense, your average is 28, and you're drafted 336 players. And then in an IDP, that increases because now your average team goes up to about 50. You're almost at a 53-man roster, but you're not. And you're only having 12 teams versus 32 teams. So you're drafted
Mhm.
600 players on your team. That's counting your bench, your starting lineup, and your taxi squad, which a taxi squad could be meaning a lot of things. You can set that taxi squad up whichever way you want in some leagues. In some leagues, I don't know how they have it set up. I know sleepers, I like how theirs is set up.
I
You can
like
do it.
I kind of like
You can do
how me and you got it set.
Yeah, we got it on a 2-year rookie, but you can do seniors. You can do anything you want with the 7 players. But you got to set limitations for your league. And that's one thing I always say when you join a league, read the rules, pay attention to what's going on. Because if you don't read the rules and you don't do your homework, then it's your own fault at the end of the day when you do your draft. Now, always ask questions too. So what I'm trying to say is if I'm offered Robert Spillman from the Vegas Raiders, and they want to trade me and they want to give me, I'm just hypothetically say they want to give me uh Kenneth Walker the third. And I know that's pretty high up running back. Well, running backs are really hard to decide on. Let's go to Drake London. Let's do a wide receiver to that defensive player. Who would you think right now? And I mean, there is almost a 30-point separation between these two. Who do you think is scoring higher? I mean, you wouldn't have thought it was.
It's not Drake London.
No, it's not. And actually, he's almost 30 points higher than Kenneth Walker. So he could score you some points. he can
Yeah.
he could be a game changer for you. And honestly, tracking him through the season, and this is just an example, he has not fell out of the top 28 as a defensive player. Now I know Aiden Hutchinson dropped all the way down to 39 because he missed one game, but I've also seen that happen to offensive players. I mean, there's offensive players that's in the top 10. They missed one game, and now they're in 39 or 40 because the highest scorer out there that just breaks 100 points right now in week 4 is Alvin Kamara. He's a running back. Right behind him is Barkley with 98. 94 is Jaden Daniels, quarterback. And then you got another running back that has not been in the top 10 at all this year, And here he sits now, but he had 199 yards last week. So he definitely put up the points, and he wasn't far away. He was gradually building it up. And that's Derrick Henry. And Lamar Jackson, number 5. Malik Neighbors, he was not in the top 10, and now he's in the top 10. He just finally got his groove going on. He can make catches that are not supposed to be made, but he does it. And then he gets yards on top of that. Nico Collins up there, wide receiver. Baker Mayfield, number 8. He only dropped out of the top 10 once. Jumped right back up, clawed his way up there. Another running back, Kieran Williams, Los Angeles Rams. Austin got that right. I got that wrong. I did not see him coming back. I didn't think he would come back, and he came back. So I'm not always right, and I'll admit it when I'm not right. But one thing I did get right was the Baker Mayfield call, and I will tell you right now, and you guys think I'm kidding. At the end of the season, he will be either quarterback 2 or quarterback 3. I will not give him quarterback 1 because there's so much other quarterbacks out there I think will surpass him before the end of the season. But
I will say
I do not think he'll finish under 3.
I will say that he'll be number 2 because Sam Darnold's going to be number 1.
And that's our number 10 guy on the list. So Sam Arnold. And guess who's right behind him? Everybody should guess it. He's the 1 number draftee all the time for wide receivers. Everybody pounces on him, and he's slowly climbing up the charts. He was kind of like in the distance because Sam Arnold was finding his footing. But Sam Arnold's found his footing. So Sam Arnold keeps that footing. This guy is going to propel to the top. He's going to be in the top 10. We're going to be talking about him, and that's Justin Jefferson. At the end of the day, you can't get rid of him. I wanted to, but it didn't happen. Okay, so my dreams have left me. Josh Allen, kind of shocker that he's in the 12, but he's bouncing back and forth. He's not really falling off. And then you go to Jaden Reed for Green Bay, another wide receiver. And then you have Chris Godwin, which is a surprise, but a lot of that is injured side of the wide receivers. And he is just, this is his season. And then Robert didn't go into defense, Robert Spillman. And then another shocker is San Francisco Juan Jennings. He was not even on my draft board, not even as a bench guy. I didn't have him on a draft board. I mean, because you had Samuel, you had Ayuk, and I actually drafted both of them guys, and I'm suffering.
You and me both.
And I'm looking at this Juan Jennings, and I'm thinking, I seen you. I knew your name. I read you. I knew you were a back of a backup, but who knew you'd be in the top 20? Justin Fields. That's another one I would have never guessed. I said, get away from him. Throw him down. Run. Don't look back. Oh, well, I was wrong. You can't be right all the time. And then you got Jordan Mason. Wow. Surprise out of nowhere. Another backup that came out, shined, and he's number 18. And then we got another great defensive player. Now, he done good last year. Fred Warner is not a lighthearted defensive guy. I mean,
I think he's
ranked overall defense 3, number 3 going into this year. He's ranked number 3. Okay, Robert Spillman, that's ahead of him, was ranked 18. So both of them were ranked already as like top 20 prospects going into 2024. So expected everything for him. I think the surprise was Aiden Hutchinson. They had Aiden Hutchinson ranked so low at the beginning of the season. And he just came out firing on all cylinders. And I think he's going to be the surprise defense at the end of the year. I think going into 2025, he's not going to be ranked out of the top 20.
Right.
Dak Prescott, we all knew. No, we didn't. I'm lying to you if I knew. I didn't think I'd see him in 20s again, but he's there good. And Geno Smith, another great quarterback that you never in fantasy football thought he was going to be where he's at now. He's 21. So, and what I want to get to is Zach Bond is still firing on all cylinders. Another backup defense player that was ranked very lowly coming into the season. His ranking was 31, and he is ranked 32 in scoring. So overall, I mean, he's tied with Jamar Chase. Look, that's a good comparison right there, guys. We're sitting here talking about how equal IDP players is to offensive players, and you have 2 that are identical in scoring, one on the offensive side and one on the defensive side. And 32 out of 1,600 players is pretty impressive. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I have 100 ranking, and the one person that bottoms out the list is Xavier Worthy, a rookie for Kansas City. And he only bottoms out the list by .1. The guy right behind him is Travis Etienne. He's 46.2. Xavier Worthy is 46.3. And the next ones are a defensive team and a defensive player, both at 46. So that's Frankie Love and Green Bay Packers defense, which you would expect that. So the top 100, I mean, Dabo Samuel, he's ranked 96. Juan Jennings is what? Up there in the top 20. Come on now. But he was also injured. And yes, rookie Caleb Williams is in the top 100. He is 92. So I can't nod him that bad, even though I nod him. Because Jordan Love's only 86. But how many games did Jordan Love miss? Did he not miss 2?
He missed 2.
He missed 2 games, and he's still ranked 86. He was in the top 10 at the beginning of the season.
I can see that.
So another surprise that kind of hurt me, and I didn't think we'd see him fall that far from grace. And it's really not falling from grace. I think he just ain't hit his mark yet, and that's Zaire Franklin. I was expecting a lot more. He was only ranked 6 coming in the season. He's only 80 right now, but I really thought I would see him in the top
He might be
30.
he might be that low, but I will say he has been pretty consistent for me at least.
Yeah, he's consistent, and I think we've not seen his ceiling yet. And that's the neat thing about football. You know when you've seen a player ceiling sometime. And I think some of these people we're talking about, we've not seen their ceiling for the season.
Right.
I mean, Derrick Henry showed his ceiling, and it shot him all the way to the top 10, and he was down in the 30s and the 40s before. So it doesn't matter where you sit on the list. It's what you do every given week. So that was pretty interesting last week football. So going into next week, week 5, we got a lot of interesting matchups. And like I said, we got bye week. So you definitely need to be picking up players on the waiver wire, or hopefully you draft it to have your substitute for the players that are on the waiver wire. Remember, the Lions, the Titans, the Eagles, and the Chargers are on bye this week. Do not have them on your roster.
Right.
So you ready to do our pick 'em for the NFL real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me bring it up. NFL pick 'em. All right, so right now, trying to find out how to see my overall.
I did a lot better last week than I did in week 3.
Yeah, this is where I need my glasses again to read all this funny.
Where is my overall? That's a good question.
Yeah, this app I'm still learning.
Oh, wait. Go to pool, click on pool, and look at the very top, and it'll have your overall.
So I'm 30 and 34.
I'm not that far behind you.
Yeah, I'm ranked 80. So last week, it is what it is. But the current week, we got Tampa against Atlanta. I'm taking Tampa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa 3 points.
They got Atlanta the favorite.
I know, but I'm taking Tampa.
You think so? Atlanta's defense is pretty good. I can see why, because Baker has been pretty hot, but the Buccaneer, Atlanta's been playing. They play their divisional games pretty close. I mean, they did it last week with the Saints, so I mean, I can really see this go either way.
Right.
But you know what? I'm gonna go with you, and I'm gonna pick Tampa.
All right. So the next pick, I'm gonna take my glasses off now so you can see my pretty eyes. I say the Vikings are going to stay undefeated this week. They're going to go 5-0. They're going to knock out the Jets.
I agree with you on that.
And I'm sorry. I know Andy Dalton did great coming out there quarterbacking for the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to put some water on your fire there last week when you loved him, but
I honestly think the Chicago Bears defense is a lot tougher than a lot of people give them credit. And Caleb Williams has a little bit of offense in him. So at the end of the day, with a little bit of offense and a top end defense, Chicago Bears will take that game.
Right. I agree.
Now, the battle that I see is Baltimore and Cincinnati.
I already
And
got
why I
my
say this is a
answer.
battle, well, go ahead. You already called it?
Yep.
What did you call?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens.
Oh, wow. I
See that?
am not. I'm going with the Bengals.
Okay,
I
okay.
think the fire has just begun, and Joe Burrow will show his stars.
Well, until I see, let's see if the Bengals can actually stop Derrick Henry first.
Yeah. I'm not sure what happened this last week with the Bills. I mean, a lot of question marks. But I've never seen the Bills take a loss like that and then come back and lose again. So, I mean, statistically, it tell me that the Bills will most likely come out the gate winning.
I'm going with the Bills.
Where are they playing at? The Bills playing in
No,
Buffalo?
They're actually playing in Houston.
Oh, then I'm gonna go with Houston. I'm gonna go against you. Texans all
Okay.
the way. All right, Indianapolis over the Jacks. Don't know if Anthony Richardson will be there, but Joe Flacco still has that flame.
I
So
I still believe in Flacco.
and,
So
and the Jaguars, man, they went like I don't know what happened, but it's like my God, something's going on that's not right. I don't know
I
if it's Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it's offensive scheme. I just don't know what's going on there, but it's just not something not jiving.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it the first head coach that gets fired is Doug Peterson.
I think so too. I think Doug Peterson's final days at Jacksonville is this year. So, with that being said, I believe we're both going for Indianapolis.
Yes, yes, we are.
All right. Let's talk about the hot mess in the Browns. I'm sorry, Browns, but I think you're such a hot mess. Washington will walk all over you, even with the weak defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, this is two teams that are upside down right now. And one of them's not completely upside down. They've kind of found their groove, but they're not all the way there. And that's New England Patriots still finding their identity. Miami, offensive struggle after offensive struggle. I can't see them winning the game. I can't see that happening.
I honestly, to be honest with you, I see them winning. I see the Dolphins winning just because their defense is going to at least help them out. I don't believe in Jacoby Brissett, man. I just really don't. So,
Yeah.
but I understand what your reasoning is.
All right. Here's another hot mess for both sides. Who is the starting quarterback for the Vegas Raiders? And who would be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos is the big question. Is it going to be the Bo Nick? Is it going to be
Yes,
the Gardner Minshew?
it'll
What's
be
going
Bo,
to happen?
it'll be Bo Nix, but the big question is, where is Devontae Adams going to go? Because I don't know if you saw it, but they're in talks of trading Devontae Adams.
Yes, he wants out of there.
Hmm.
Do you blame him? Uh,
No.
so with that being said, I'm going to give it to the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
I'm not going to pick the next game. I want you to pick the next game for me because I cannot pick it.
Really?
I sit here and I look at Arizona and I look at
Oh
San Francisco.
gosh. There, let me just make it easy for you then.
San Francisco,
I'm going with the 49ers.
I am too. I hate it, but it is what it is. Uh, the Giants, the Seahawks, there's no argument or disagreement. Seahawks is going to take that game. Giants
I
will,
no.
Malik Neighbors will score great. He's a great fan. When it comes to fantasy relevancy, grab a Malik Neighbors because you can throw a ball 10 miles away from the guy and his fingertips will bring it in. Um, I'm just saying he's that good of a wide receiver. Just yeah, it's like saying the guy on the battlefield shooting lightning bolts out his ass. I'm sorry, I went too far with it. Uh, Green Bay to Rams. Rams is so injury prone, and Jordan Love was such warmed up at the end of the game. I am going with Green Bay.
I am too.
All right. Dallas to Pittsburgh. Okay, I don't see Dallas falling again. I think Dallas, they didn't fall last week. They're going to win again. I would love to see Pittsburgh win 2 games in a row, but then say that's a tough game to choose because I mean them two teams when they meet up, it's a different thing too. It's like the Browns and Pittsburgh. It's like you never know what's going to happen. Uh,
Uh,
I know
that's
Justin Fields and all them are playing good. It ain't just Justin Fields; it's a team and all. But at the end of the day, I think Dallas is played. I mean, both of them are playoff contention contenders. But I think in the season game, Dallas will probably pull off this one.
yeah,
If
but
they can find a running game.
here's what worries me, and it's not just the running game. Is we lost our top two pass rushers. We Micah Parsons has got an high ankle sprain,
Yep.
and then Demarcus Lawrence just got put on IR
Yep. I've seen that.
today. So this game kind of concerns me.
So you're going defensive end. Pittsburgh will probably have the upper hand.
I,
They're so much
I
stronger.
honestly, I hate saying this, but I'm gonna
It
have to
happens.
go.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
I
have
know
to go with. I'm gonna have to go with Pittsburgh on this
I,
one.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna change mine and go to Pittsburgh because you just sold it to me by just
I
explaining the
mean,
defense side.
it just scares me, man. I mean, it just looks very hard for me. So
Yeah, I want to
I have
slam
to
my fist
go.
down, but I won't because I might spill my drink and break my computer. Kansas City against New Orleans.
I
How
mean,
bad I would love New Orleans to win this game. I think
that
they
ain't
could
gonna
win it. They
happen.
have talent. I'm going to say they are going to win this game, and the Chiefs are going to fall. And it's the total score for that game is going to be 68.
68.
It's going to be a scoring fest.
Uh,
33, 33, 33, 35, something like
I'm
that.
I'm gonna go with 52.
I'm going to go with 62. That's more realistic. Ugh,
Just a little bit.
a little bit more realistic than the 68. All right. So we got our pick'ems out of the way. Talked about a little bit of who to play, a little bit about defensive. So I would encourage people out there that have not dived into IDP, start looking, get into it because everybody that we've introduced to it has really enjoyed it. And I tell you right now, I enjoy my IDP leagues. I believe I have made sure all my dynasty leagues are no longer offense. They're all dynasty
I
IDP.
mean, I mean,
Why?
wait.
Because if
I
you're
mean,
going to do a fantasy league ID, like a fantasy league, like in Dynasty, you need to have the entire team. That's my opinion.
I mean, everybody vote in our league. Everybody voted it in, and
Yeah.
I've had no complaints since. So I mean, I've only had two complaints, but they're no longer there in the league anymore.
And they weren't complaining about that. They complained about other things.
Well, there was a lot they complained about, but
Yeah.
you just wasn't there for most of it.
Oh, good, 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 good. All right. But I was blamed for it all. So
Of course, of course.
why not blame me? So let's jump into the quick college recap. So we had a pick 'em.
Let me get to it real quick.
Let me bring up my little tongue tied. Bring up my pick 'em. See what we are at. Oh, games. I am
My
at
over,
80%.
my overall is better than I expected it to be.
I'm 27 and 22. What are you?
I am 26 and 23.
All right, so 1 game
So
difference.
literally just one game off.
Yeah, so last week I picked BYU Cougars, which they won. I picked Kansas City Wildcats, they won. I picked Louisville Cardinals, and they got upset by the Fighting Irish. I picked the Fresno State Bulldogs because I thought they would be the only Bulldogs that won that week. Guess what? No Bulldogs won that week. All Bulldogs fell that week, except for a high school Bulldog team that I know that did win. UNLV lit them up 59-14. When I said they lit them up, they lit them up.
Yeah, that was wild.
Texas A&M and Arkansas game was good, 21 17. Then Oklahoma 27-21 to Auburn.
Auburn had
Duke
that game.
Devils is still undefeated. Wow. And Alabama pulled it off with Georgia. And let me tell you, that score is nothing of the game. Because, yes, it's close, 34-41. But Georgia, they came back. I mean, when they went into halftime, it was 28-27. I mean, 28-7. I mean, it was crazy. Alabama came out firing on all cylinders. But once Georgia figured it out, they slowly climbed back in the game. Third quarter, they got that 8 points. And then in the fourth quarter, they put up 19. They pretty much shut Alabama down in the second half. Alabama had a field goal and touchdown and 2 points. I mean, they were pretty much 8-3. So, I mean, it was like they got shut down. They were actually shut down pretty much. I mean, they scored in every quarter, but Georgia's defense figured it out after the first quarter. I mean, first quarter, they put up 21 points, and it was skating.
Right.
And then the defense come in, and they kind of started peeling that back. So it was a good game to watch. One game was canceled. Liberty Flames and Appalachian State. I didn't even not know. Oh yeah, because of the storms, it was canceled.
Yeah, it was because of the hurricane.
Yeah, so we don't know. Washington State lost their first game to Boise State. I thought it'd be the only Pac-12 team that went undefeated, but Boise State said, let me hold you down just 1 second here. A little paddling on the butt, 45-24. I think that's more than just a paddle on the butt. It's like, oh my God, you're screaming and please pull it out. So I just say that was one of the worst things.
Oh my goodness.
All right. I went that way. Oklahoma, wow. I did not expect them to beat Auburn. That was a good game. 27-21. They did a lot of scoring at the end. They were struggling. Oklahoma was struggling. It looked like Oklahoma was fixing to fall again. I mean, they were struggling. First 3 quarters, they only scored 10 points. They put up 17 in the fourth. College football is such a different game than the NFL. And why I say that is a lopsided of players, where the NFL gets the cream of the crop and put them on 32 teams, and it's pretty balanced. That's why no team hardly ever goes undefeated. It's so hard to stay undefeated in the NFL because it's high caliber, the top of the top, the cream of the crop playing in the NFL. College, on the other hand, is lopsided. You have teams that have so much talent on one side and so much talent on the other side, and some teams that have scattered talent, maybe have 2 like outstanding stars that can win a game. So that's why they say, well, any football game can be lost, no matter who on either side, NFL or college. I mean, there's times that people never thought Alabama would walk on the field and lose to a team, and they did. I mean, it happens. And same with Ohio State. Ohio State has been upset before. Every team gets upset, no matter how good you are. You don't know what day you're coming out there, and you don't know who you're playing against. You could be playing against all rated 2 stars, and some of them 2 stars could end up being NFL stars that were never recognized because then again, it's college people rating them. And then when they get into the college and then the NFL crew guys come out there and start scouting them, it becomes a whole different group. So, I mean, that's why it's kind of even hard to look at the statistics on college. If you look at the top quarterbacks to who you think are the top quarterbacks, you need to go by more of the quarterback rankings than the yards and scores and the points, because someone could throw 1,000 passes and look good, but only get like 30% of the passes. I mean, it really depends. But yeah, we're going to get a little deeper into college as it gets into the season. Right now, I'm not going to dive into it. What we're going to do is do our pickems for week 6, because we're on week 6 for college.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10 teams we're going to do this week, drum roll and glasses, and hopefully no one's screaming at the end of the weekend. Pittsburgh Panthers and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Oh, wow. Pittsburgh Panthers are undefeated right now, 4-0. North Carolina's had some struggles. I am actually not, let me tell you, I'm not picking Pittsburgh because they're undefeated. I'm picking them by what I've seen them play. So I believe they'll win that game. North Carolina's struggled.
Yeah, I'm going with Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Boston College. Every time I've seen a game, and I got to watch 2 games of theirs so far this year. Wow, impressive little ACC team. Not saying they're national champions or natty contenders. I'm just saying they're good. And yes, they are going to take out the Virginia Cavaliers. So I will give that win to the Boston College. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I went with Boston College as well.
Now, here's my mixed feelings, and my gut is turning. Yes, Texas A&M fell to Notre Dame, but I have watched Texas A&M after that, and they've kind of pulled their stuff together a little bit. And it wasn't like they were a little liberated by Notre Dame, but they got beat. Missouri, on the other hand, looks good. And yes, Missouri's ranked number 9, and yes, they're 4-0. But I think it's time the SEC has a little shakeup, and I believe this is a game that starts the shakeup. And I think Texas A&M is going to take down the Tigers.
I went the other way. I
All
went with
right.
Missouri.
Another one up and down battle in the Big 12. You got West Virginia Mountaineers are 2-2, and Oklahoma State Cowboys 3-2. I do not think the Oklahoma State Cowboys should be 3-2, but they are. They've made some mental mistakes, some playing mistakes. Things
Yeah,
happen in the game.
it's
And
really surprising that Ollie Gordon hasn't got really going yet.
no, he has not. He has not stepped off like he did last year. And I'm not saying that West Virginia Mountaineers are going to win. They're not. Oklahoma State Cowboys got this game.
Mhm. I went with West Virginia.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be the matchup that can be the matchup of the matchup. And I know Nebraska lost. They finally lost a game. It wasn't to Colorado. They went ahead and beat the Dion, but turned around and lost the game. But now they're playing against Rutgers. Rutgers is undefeated right now in the Big Ten. Yes, Rutgers, but they're not going to stay undefeated. Yes, he's having a good season. Greg Schiano's done turned the team around. It's looking good. I still think the Cornhuskers are going to win that game. I don't think the Rutgers are going to stay undefeated. I would love to
Yeah,
see it. It would be great to see them go 5-0. I just don't see it. Michigan Wolverines. Wow, they have pulled out some tough wins. Yes, they had got literally stomped and beat up by the Texans, but it's
Texas,
a
not the
young
Texans.
team, and Texas has a veteran team that's really good. And Michigan is not a 5-star recruiter. They're a builder of they get like lower recruits and build them up. They don't have the same players. A lot of their players left. It's impressive that they're 4-1. I didn't think they'd win against Texas, and they didn't. Um, but I honestly think they're going to beat the Washington Huskies. I think they're going to stay 5-1.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, a big disappointment I had last week was UCF. I thought they were going to win their game last week. I thought they were going to do what they had to do, and they did not. And it shocked me.
Right.
So I'm trying to find their. I
I
have it on the top 25. That's why I don't see them.
I'm
They're not top 25 team. Well, let me get through the regular thing here. Oh, here we go. Woo! I about missed it. Let's look at that USC. I want to say the right thing before I say the wrong thing.
the UCF Knights.
Yeah, I know they lost last week.
Oh yeah, I thought didn't they play Colorado?
Yes, Colorado came out and played a game. So Sanders had like 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. Running back Harvey 77 yards. They scored 48-21. They literally just bashed mouth them. They're playing the Florida Gators. I honestly think, and I'm sorry, Gators. Yes, I am going to pick UCF. Even though they did lose to Colorado, I don't think they're going to lose to you. I mean, Gators are, oh my God.
They're
Uh,
awful.
they're awful. Yeah, they got 2 wins, but I think they're like little teams. I mean,
Yeah.
so I am so surprised on this one. I mean, I look at Duke and I'm like, you're undefeated still, but then that's like saying Rutgers is undefeated. So I mean, I think Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets is a good enough team to end that streak. But I don't think the streak is going to end.
I picked Duke.
I'm picking Duke. Miami, you pulled out a barely win last week. It's A decent team, I guess. Whatever.
with a call that everyone's
Yeah.
going to be talking about forever.
Yeah, they're currently 5-0 too. They're ranked number 8. They're going against California Golden Bears, and they have upset it some people. I honestly think this is going to be the misstep for Miami Hurricanes. So I am actually going to pick the California Golden Bears to beat the Hurricanes. They have upset it, other players, and I believe this week they're going to upset the Miami Hurricanes. I think they're going to fall. I think this week Arizona Wildcats will redeem themselves and they will tear down that Texas Tech Red Raiders. Yes, that is a Patrick Mahomes team and one time Baker Mayfield before he went to Oklahoma. Guess what? Team is not going to win this week. Arizona's going to take it. And how much do I think the score is going to be for Miami and California? 14. No, kidding. I think of what? I'd say 26 total. I don't think it's going to be a big score.
Oh, okay.
So what was your pick for Texas Tech in Arizona?
I went with Arizona.
You went with Arizona?
Yeah, I went with Arizona.
And for Miami and the goal California, who did you go for?
I went with Miami.
This is where it'll tell us if we're men or non-men. And I know I'm the little boy with no hair on my chest. Well, I do have one hair. It's right on this left nipple, and I comb it every day.
Oh,
A lot of
okay.
people don't need to know that information. I keep that private, but I'm gonna let you know tonight. All right. So, yeah. How about Kyle McCord? He's doing pretty good over there at Syracuse. Yeah, they've had a loss. They're 3-1. He's definitely putting up the passing yards. I know you don't care nothing about him, but I do. He was a former Ohio State quarterback, so I have been trying to watch him and see how he's doing. He's doing pretty good for Syracuse.
I never said I didn't care.
Oh, I thought you didn't care about us.
It's just when you go on your Ohio State rants is when I don't care.
Yes, and I'm trying not to do that in the show. I'm trying to be respectful to all teams and all players, and I think I do a pretty good job.
You've gotten better.
Yes, I have. I worked on it 2 years prior to shooting our first show. Man, Army beat the living tar out of Temple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
they did.
Ohio State handled Michigan State. I mean, Louisville, I was shocked to see them lose. I did not see that lose. I really thought Louisville was going to run the table this year. I mean, I had so much like my whole spew was like they're going to dominate them in Syracuse, and I was like, oh, here comes Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a slip up against a team that has even beat the great Alabama in time. Yes, Northern Illinois did beat Alabama at one time. So it's just one of them. Like everybody gets upset at one time in their career. So it's like, as I say, it's college. It's so lopsided. You never know. If you're going to go out and play, you need to go out and play. In the Alabama and Georgia game was a good example. You needed to be out and play. Mississippi State, they tried to show up, but Texas handed them over. Do I think Texas is number one? For now, yes. Per their schedule, yes. Per what they played, yes. For what they have done, yes. Is Ohio State should be where they should be? Yes, because they have not really played anybody. So what am I supposed to cry about? There's nothing to cry about. I think as time goes and their resumes start to build a little bit bigger, we'll see a swap again. I don't think it's going to be like a normal season where we see one team staying in the top one spot for college. I think we're going to see a flip flop through the season. And it's just how it's playing out this year, and the way there's no conferences and the schedules. I mean, Georgia's literally going through a gauntlet. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That is a gauntlet.
Well, Florida.
And I don't think they're going to survive.
Well, Florida is also, they have the number one hardest schedule this year.
Florida State or Florida?
No, Florida.
Yeah, Florida's that's why they're what they are right now. They're holding on to threads and they don't have nothing to really compete. I mean, they're even begging Urban Meyers to come back, and Urban Meyers likes his office at Ohio State, so he still stays up there. I mean, it's his home state. Come on, guys. He was born in Ohio. He was born in Toledo. He was born at the hospital my brother was born at, I think. I was born at the hospital the Hardball was born at. Yeah. So John Hardball was born in Toledo Hospital, where I was born at. Yes, I was born. And that's probably why I got such a tie to the hardballs. I hate them so much.
Ah,
I hate it because he went to Michigan. Michigan, not even. I said it. Look at where you got me. You messed me up, Austin. I'm never supposed to say that word. It's the drinks that you feed me and yeah.
well, hey,
I'm
I
drinking
never,
because of you.
I never forced you to drink it. I just brought it.
Yeah, but then you forced me to say that word. It's like you tied me up. That's your safe word. Say it. Say it. Michigan. Not yeah. Here we go. We got it back. Michigan. Ooh, Jesus Christ! I was being too nice there. Uh, But no, that was pumped up. If you guys watched the Alabama game, that's pretty pumped up to watch that crowd get livid. I mean, I love seeing stadiums. I love watching Penn State wide out. I love things like that. When you see a crowd, I like it when Wisconsin was banging back in the day when they do that little jump stuff when they were actually winning. Yeah, they didn't jump so much when Alabama was there, but I understand who jumps when they're there. I mean, it kind of takes the liveliness out of it. I mean, it was the Alabama guys over there, jump, jump, jump. But yeah, this is how it is. I mean, I was actually surprised how Stanford, Cal's doing all in the ACC. They're holding their own. They're not falling off.
Right.
So on the NFL side, as I was saying before, me and Austin talked about defensive players. They're just as good as the offensive. So if you are an IDP league, you really need to do your research before you make a judgment because you could be getting a star and you could be passing up a star.
Right.
Right now, we'll keep telling you guys who the top 20 is, and I keep doing this list. I know I keep saying I'm gonna put it on the page. I haven't done it yet. I guess this week I'll do week 5 because we're getting to the point where that list is going to start stabilizing. Your top 20 is going to be your top 20, and occasionally you'll see people swap in and out. But it's normally mid-season when that little swap stops.
Right.
And we don't have a Christian McCaffrey out there that's like 100 points ahead of everybody. He's just that beast, and he's injured. So that's another thing. He's right now not even ranked because of his injury. If he comes back and plays the next 6 games, he could be in the top 50 like that. Like you
Yeah.
blink an eye, he's there.
At this point, I don't even know if he'll show up anymore. Because
Yeah,
every news I keep seeing is always gets worse and worse.
yeah. Both legs have
Yeah.
what is it called? Tendonitis or
It's like Achilles tendonitis.
in both legs.
Yeah.
I had it in my hip. I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know.
It's not. I'm just messing with you.
That's a hip tendonitis.
Hip. Turn my hip out. Oh, all right. So if you guys like what you hear, hit the like button. Please keep subscribing. Before we sign off today, I did want to cover one thing that shocked me. So today, well, yesterday it happened. We lost. It's not football, so I don't know, but I'm a sports fan. So Pete Rose passed away. In my opinion, he is one of the greatest baseball players. He holds so many records that have not been touched. And I know he gambled, and there's a lot of sports figures out there that gambled. I hope even after his death, he lived to be 83, that they would reconsider and put him in the Hall of Fame because the man was extraordinary in baseball. I mean, hands down. And this is the sarcastic side, I will say. He played for the greatest team of all. That's the Philadelphia Phillies. But he also played for the Cincinnati Reds. He also played for Montreal Expos for a little short period of time. But he did win World Series with the Reds and the Phillies. And if anybody knew baseball or knows of baseball, you know who Pete Rose is. Bottom line, one of the greats. And it's sad that he passed away. And now they're looking into his death. I hope it's nothing like someone did something. I mean, 83 is old age. We don't know. He is from the great state of Ohio, just as I am, but he's from Cincinnati, the lower end. I'm from the upper end. But every state is great. And no, I do not have his stats or his abilities. Yes. And I still have his baseball cards, and I plan on handing them down to my son. I mean, he's just like, I just wanted to announce that. It's sad that he passed away. I know that had nothing to do with football, but I thought I'd just say something about it. Because he
Right.
meant a lot to me in my younger life. Just wanted people to know. Yes, he taught me how to gamble.
Very good.
Very good. So if you like, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And what you always say?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That is right. Sharing is caring.